Of the Money Lab podcast from the Six Figure Academy. I'm your host, Wei Hong from the Six Figure Academy. And this is the podcast where we give you tips, strategies, and interviews with other entrepreneurs on how to create that ultimate six-figure entrepreneur lifestyle, free of bad money stories, money anxiety, and stress so that you can monetize your dreams and execute your genius. Now, if you haven't already downloaded our free ebook from money anxiety to six-figure mastery, make sure you go to go.thesixfigureacademy.com and get it there. It's the perfect complement to all the things we discuss on this show. And quite frankly, we've been told that it could change your life, and it has. Now, if you are joining us live today and you are not on YouTube, make sure you get on Spreaker.com or download the Spreaker app, which makes it so much easier so you can access not just our podcast, but all the other podcasts there. And you put it on your mobile device and search for the hashtag #TheMoneyLab so that you can join us in the chat room, ask questions, interact with us or our guests, and even request a specific topic to discuss that will help you support you in your quest for the ideal six-figure lifestyle. Now, while you're there, subscribe so that you don't miss an episode and can catch us every single week. Now, for all other ways to find us, go to thesixfigureacademy.com/radio for all the details. Now, if there's something that you love about our guest today or about what you hear in this episode today and that you know could help someone you care about, especially an entrepreneur, remember, sharing is caring. So share the show to that person. So today we have on our show a very cool individual. I mean, this guy I've known for a while now, and he's got this passion on a variety of different areas. But one of the coolest things that I like about it is that his business is actually kind of a direct reflection of what he has literally all over his body. But what I want to do is introduce you to this guy. He's kind of like one of those entrepreneurs that are in transition, kind of like straddling, supporting another business, another company, working for somebody else, and at the same time building his empire one day at a time and one six-figure mark at a time, if you will. His name is Erik Barajas, and I pronounced that right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Good.
Barajas and Barajas. Okay. and what I want to do is I want to introduce him to the show. So welcome to the show, Erik.
Hey, thanks, Wade. Thanks for having me.
Yep. And so I know, there are days that you go into work for your day job, and there are days that it's such a cool gig. You can actually work away from home, right?
That's right.
So tell me a little bit about what you do, or tell our audience I know what you do, but tell the audience what is it that you do both on your day and on your business, so that way they can kind of get a scope of what's going on, and then we can talk about how you're doing that transition for those who are interested in moving from the corporate 9-to-5 and pursuing their passion, their dream of becoming an entrepreneur.
Okay, let's see if I can tie all that together.
Okay.
So for my day job, I work as a research analyst for an automotive research company, doing the pricing analysis, depreciation analysis, like really boring stuff in life. So a desk job, basically. So
how long have you been doing that?
About 11 years.
11 years.
And then on top of that, I have my business, selling ink and toner to a B2B business,
right?
B2B sales, and doing the CalGuard, the state military. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're very passionate about that. You come from a military family, don't you? For the most part.
Yeah, my grandfather, he was in the Air Force. My real father is Army vet. So, and then my father-in-law also an airman from the Air Force. So. And my uncle, Army. So
yeah, you just got a whole bunch of military boys.
That's
in your
right. Yeah, so I got to try to find a way to keep the tradition going.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So I want to make sure the audience could see what you have going on here, because I think it's a really cool correlation here. I mean, you have ink. I mean, you do ink as your business, right? And,
that's right.
But you have also ink all over your body.
Yeah.
And in fact, your body was actually featured in a few magazines or things as well, right?
That's
because of the artwork and everything.
I got really lucky with my tattoo artist. Actually, was really good. So I believe some photographers from these from like Tattoo Magazine and Inks Magazine saw my pictures and then decided to shoot some video and some pictures. So not because of me, but because of my artist.
Right. Now, before I get into the money story, I want to actually lay more context about was it the ink on your body that got you into the ink business, or?
You know what? It's so funny that you would say that, because actually, yes, because trying to make this like as compact as possible. But I was working my day job, and then I the place where I went to go get tattooed, I met another guy that was getting tattooed, also like had this huge Japanese bodysuit, and he, we got to know each other a little bit. He was like, "Hey, have you ever tried selling anything over the phone before?" And I said, "No." He's like, "Would you want to try?" And then, I saw this guy, he had spent, a lot of money on his tattoos, and I think he had like an M5 that was like this really crazy M5.
Wow. And he's an online entrepreneur.
He B2B salesperson.
Okay.
And so I always wondered like what he did. I was like, wow, that's cool. Like, he's doing really well. And then so he asked me, he was like, "Hey, you want to try selling like toner over the phone?" Of course, I've never done any like phone sales or anything like that. And I was like, okay.
Was that his business?
Yeah, because he's the one that got me into it.
Oh, yeah, okay. So a couple ink guys got into the ink business.
Right.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So that's like how it all started. It actually did revolve around ink.
Yeah, ink in itself, right? And so was it just, in your mind, was it a relevancy thing? It's like, oh well, it's ink anyway, and I'm all about ink, or was it just happened to be the product? Was this just kind of a coincidence thing that I want to sell ink? Maybe that was his passion because
it was just kind of a coincidence. I mean, just doing like the regular like 9-to-5 thing. Like I always like wanted to do something more, or see what other people did that like, what people who made like real money did, kind of thing. So I always had my eye open for like some type of opportunity, because I'd always try something weird, like I tried like an eBay store selling like airsoft stuff, because I saw one of my friends.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah,
because my friend that was doing that, he had like this really nice BMW and stuff like that. So I was like, oh man, he's got it together. Like, so I got to do eBay, and then so I whatever opportunity I saw someone else trying out was like, making money from it, I would try it too, like without even thinking. Yeah, that's kind of a bit of a mark of an entrepreneur, is just to try it without thinking,
and you kind of just jumped in and tried it out, and if it worked, great. If it didn't, then you just try something else, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So this, I think this would be a good time for us to talk about your money story, because a lot of times what we found, the reason why the Money Lab, the podcast, our group, our programs and everything, what we found is that money story, how you grew up on money, has a big impact on the type of entrepreneur you end up being and the growth that you experience. So let's talk a little bit about that, in terms of what you had to overcome in terms of your money story, because I heard a little bit about it, and that's the title of today's show, is like, there is no money. So I remember when I was asking you via email the other day, I was like, so what's your money story? It's like, oh, that's easy. There was no money. So let's talk about what was your money story growing up, in terms of what was the money circumstance like growing up?
Yeah, it's like a really weird, my parents got divorced when I was really young. I think I was like 2. And if my mom's out there listening, I'm sorry, Mom, you're about to hear like a lot of stuff you probably don't want to hear. But,
that's okay. It's real. It's about to inspire people and help people. It's like.
But yeah, so my mom remarried to this guy, and I think we had like a normal like middle class kind of life, but it wasn't like the money was passed down anywhere. Like we lived very frugally. That's just how it was in our family. We ate off the kids menu until we're probably like 13 or 14.
Maximize the cost efficiency of the kids menu, right?
Yeah. So I never had like money in my pocket unless like my grandma came by and gave it to me, or my grandpa, or so like when I was started getting
how long did you not have money in your pocket unless a family member happened to come by and give you some?
Probably till I was probably like 8 or 9. Like my parents were like, "Hey, you go wash some cars or something on the street that we lived on." So I started washing cars and making money that way, or babysitting. Like
8 or 9. Well, really, kids shouldn't really be having to deal with money until I guess a little bit later, right? But
yeah, there was like a video game store or comic book store that was down the street, and we'd go there and like go buy like warheads and stuff like that, and play video games, and like see how many warheads we can eat at one time. So like that's what we're using our money for. But But yeah, that's kind of like how it all started. And like when I started getting older, like when I got to 15, I got my first job at Baskin Robbins, like scooping ice cream, and then it kind of went on from there. Like where all my, if I wanted to make money, I'd have to either work like 1 or 2 jobs. I think I worked 2 jobs at one time in high school also, or I had to like go out and hustle, like babysit or wash cars.
Yeah, so. And then what happened to the money when you make the money? Was it just your money, or it was everybody to for themselves, or how?
Yeah,
how was it?
I had a pager bill, so I had to pay my pager bill.
Why did you have a pager? How old were you, and where did you have
I was 15. Yeah, I had a Motorola pager.
Why did you have a pager? Trying to be all gangster.
No, it's actually because my stepdad didn't like my friends calling the house, so they made me get him a pager, so like the phone would never ring.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, so you know, it was interesting when your first response was, "Oh, the money story is easy. There is no money." Where did that come from? The perception that there is no money.
Just because I mean, I don't really remember us asking for money all the time, but like if we wanted something, like, you know, it was an issue kind of thing. Like, you know, I never saw, like, you know, I didn't feel like we were spoiled. Like, we weren't spoiled, but we weren't like neglected in any way. Like,
right.
We're not like not being fed, but
right.
I mean, it was obvious, like my friends all around me, they had a car. Like I didn't, you know, that was like completely out of the question, you know,
right.
place.
And how was it when you asked for things when back then? I mean, what was the response like typically?
Either my mom would help me get it, like off to the side, or my grandparents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's more like
so there was money. It was just like, but you know, it wasn't like there is no money. It's just that it was that like the first response that people gave you? I mean, when you said that, oh, I need this, or I want this, or
yeah, I mean, it's weird maybe because I'm comparing to like some of my friends, like I hung around, because they all like kind of live like on the richer side of the place, of the neighborhood.
Okay.
So, you know, if like our big thing was we'd like walk to like the local shopping centers, and like people like, you know, go buy like Taco Bell and stuff like that. But everyone like whip out their money, and I never had any money on me, you know what I mean? So,
okay.
I'm always like the left out kid without any money. So
okay, so basically that's the story. I mean, you were growing up and everybody else had money except you.
Right.
And so there was no money, even though you weren't starving and on the street or anything like that. The perception, somehow the story became that everybody else has money except me. Right. Okay, cool. So you grew up with that perception. How did that then impact your career, your work career? I mean, it sounds like you had a lot of different jobs and everything like that. But how did that impact your financial success or career in terms of what you were doing?
Well, up until that point, like in high school, like, you know, it kind of like put a little bit like a work ethic into me early. Like I was willing to do any job. Like I didn't care what it was, as long as like I was, you know, able to get some spending.
You became a bit of a job whore.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I was working at like a cafe and at Old Navy at the same time in high school. Like I was just back-to-back jobs.
And you were going to school.
Right. Okay. But I mean, eventually I dropped out of high school. So
okay. Was it because of the need to work, or was it just because you just lost interest in school?
I felt like I wasn't challenged enough. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was just dumb. You know, like I shouldn't have.
What do you?
It was just a bad decision. I just wanted to hang out with my friends and goof off. But that's when like things really went from having, you know, going to really having no money. Like, you know, just you know, when I dropped out of school, I ended up moving out of my parents' house, and so I was like couch surfing. No car. You know what I mean?
So you did kind of go homeless then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. For like at least like 7 months, I was just kind of just bumming around. And I think eventually, like, I ended up getting a really retarded job. Like nothing to even like. It's a bad job. But
what do you work in the streets?
I know, right? It could have been. It was just terrible. Like it was an adult video store.
Oh, cool.
Because it was the first place that would hire me. You know what I mean? And I needed a job to get.
Did they at least pay well?
No, it was like, I think it was like $6 an hour.
Oh, okay.
And then my apartment was like $400.
Did you got free rentals?
No, I could have probably slept there, but I worked the night shift, you know. So,
okay.
But yeah, it was so that's how I started from, like, basically, like, you know, I moved out of my house and I was just homeless for a while, and then just got like one really dead end job.
Yeah, you were like one job away from working the porn industry.
Yeah, I know, right? I was just waiting for the opportunity.
It's like, that'll pay more.
Yeah, I was like, I got this space. That's all I got. But yeah, so I mean, I just creeped up my way from, you know, working at that dead end job, and just slowly, like, you know, trying to find more opportunities, just keep kind of progressing forward.
Yeah. So how did you, because I mean, I'm pretty sure this is not an uncommon story. I mean, sure, there's plenty of people who found that school was just not, you know, interesting to them, and they drop out because they grew up, you know, realizing that everybody else has money except me. I need to go make money. And without without thinking about it, right? You just go and just start making money doing whatever it is you can. Next thing you know, you're homeless, you're couch surfing, and then you start to build it up. But right now, I mean, there's a huge gap from then to where you are right now. You have a full-blown corporate job. Your business is actually from a growth standpoint of 6 figures and growing. Where was that shift that happened that actually put you on this path of alignment? And then, you know, someone loved you enough to marry you.
Right. Yeah. That's
right.
Yeah.
You know, Morgan's cool.
Right.
Super cool. And then you guys get to travel and see the world. It's a bit of a cool lifestyle that you have now. Right. That's beyond probably what your parents even imagine.
Yeah. We're really lucky.
Right. Well, you know, we could say lucky, but you busted your butt at some point, you know? So I'm curious as to, okay, so you worked in the adult video store, and then you from there you went into what?
Oh yeah, so I did that, and then the girl I was with at the time, like we ended up breaking up, and I was told my mom was like, hey, you can just come back and start over, live with us for a little bit, and then get your own place out, because they lived out in the country in Texas.
Yeah, scoot over more so people can see your ink. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so
I'll scoot over this way.
there you go. So yeah, so I ended up, you know, I was hanging around like a lot of bad people, pretty much like really bad influences. So
well, yeah, I mean, because you got that whole. Well, when did you get your tats?
I didn't get them till I was probably like 27.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but you were because your tats look pretty gangster. I have a tattoo, but it's look nowhere gangster. it's like the people in Japan were having a problem with it. It's like, really? It's a comic book character. Are you curious? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, I'd have a big problem in Japan.
Yeah. There's only a few places that you can go. At some point during this time, we could probably show the viewers your entire ink on your back and stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no problem.
But anyway, yeah. So you broke up. Did you go home?
Yeah, I ended up moving back in with my mom and stepdad. Because we broke up with the chick, and then I wanted to get away from everybody.
Yeah. What did they say to you about everything that you, all your choices? I mean, did they say anything? I mean,
no. I mean, they've all, like, my mom's always been like super supportive of everything I've done.
Even adults, she's like, hey.
Yeah, I mean,
can you give me free rentals?
I know, right? Yeah. She's been super cool. But when every time I get into like a lot of trouble, you know, they'd be there for me.
Well, that's good.
And then I got into a lot of trouble a lot of times. So.
Yeah, and that's worth any amount of money that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, they can provide stuff like this being there, and there's something to be said about that. You know, in terms of, you know, when you're looking at the value that you provide. I mean, there's some parents, especially in our area, that focus on just providing money, but a lot of kids these days, they don't crave the money per se. The money is kind of like a drug that just kind of covers up for stuff, but what they really crave is just being there, or just the support and the nurturing, right? And I think that could have been your saving grace. What saved you from that path of going to way into the dark side?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, if they didn't say, hey, you can come back and like start over again, I don't know what would happen.
See, Mom, if you're watching,
thanks,
this
Mom.
is a good thing. Right?
But yeah, so I moved back in with them for a little while, out in Sealy, Texas, like a really small town. So
they're in Texas.
Oh yeah, or at that time they were.
Oh, okay.
So, and you know, when I was working at the porn shop, that was in Houston. So
so you're not even from California. I totally forgot about that.
Well, I was born out here, and then we moved to Texas, I think when I was like 12 or 13.
Okay.
So but yeah, so out in Sealy, Texas, in a small town, I was able to like straighten everything out again. I was working as a manager for what's it called, like Famous Footwear.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, not, you know, it was a lot better than working at the video store.
For sure. Now you're dealing with stinky feet.
Yeah. And then I was like, wow, I'm making $8 an hour now.
Okay.
And I'd see the manager of the store. He was like, wow, he makes $13 an hour. I would tell myself, I was like, man, I wonder what that's like. You know what I mean? So,
right.
It's just, yeah. So everywhere I'd go, you know, I'd look at something like, oh, I wonder what that's like to make, you know, that kind of money.
So always looking forward, looking at well, you know, and it wasn't like were you just kind of like, there's different ways to look at it. Were you looking at your current situation as not good enough, or were you still appreciative and grateful for what you had, but you were still looking for it? Which was it for you?
Actually, both. Okay. Because one, like, I was glad I wasn't like, you know, where I was before. And then another one was like, I look around like, hey, this can't be the end game right now.
There's more.
Right.
Okay, cool. So you were looking around, you saw what's that like, and so from there, what was the next step? I'm just fascinated about this journey. I want to find that linking point that got to the point where boom, you're working where you are now and all that stuff. So
so I was living in Sealy, and I started to feel that point where like I was like, man, I'm just like stuck. Like either I'm just gonna be stuck here working at the shoe store, or I need to do something big again. And then my grandparents were like, hey, if you come out here in Gardena and live with us, you can go to college. And I was like, what, in college? Like I dropped out of high school and I had like the worst grades ever. Like school was not for me. And then I was like, I didn't even think that was possible.
Right.
So actually what I had to do was I had to go get my GED.
Right.
And then so I ended up signing up for this program called like Job Corps. It's this government deal where like you go and you live on this campus and they teach you a skill and you get your GED.
Oh, it's like almost like old school vocational school type of thing.
And it's completely paid by the government. And then you go there, you work there, you live there.
How do you qualify for something like that?
I don't know. I think you have to make below a certain amount of money, which I obviously qualified for. I didn't have anything. I didn't even have a GED, or, I just dropped out of high school. So I didn't have any education. So I think my stepdad told me about it or something. So I signed up for that, and I moved out to I forget what city. It's down like a little bit south of Austin, Texas.
Okay.
And I ended up going there for a year, and living there. It's 6 months or a year, something like that.
Wow, completely subsidized by the government. You live there. They feed you.
Right. It's pretty much like it's like a mix between going to boot camp and then county jail at the same time.
Oh, are they pretty hard? Is it pretty disciplined over there?
Oh yeah. Because I mean, you have like ex-gang members there trying to straighten out their lives, or whatever. Homeless kids, or just the biggest mix of probably like the people who are in bad situations showing up in one spot.
Huh. Interesting.
So I kind of felt it was like that way.
Okay.
So, like more close to the county jail.
Okay. But you survived it.
Oh yeah. So as soon as I got my GED, I didn't even finish the program. I left there. I never went back. And then I called my grandparents. I was like, hey, I want to come out to school because I want to see what it's like to go to college.
Yeah.
And then I moved out here, and then got a job at a warehouse.
Okay. While you were going to school?
While I was going to school, right.
Okay. What'd you end up studying then?
I ended up going to El Camino College. And I got a AS in business administration.
Okay.
And then I transferred to Cal State Northridge, and then Cal State Dominguez Hills.
Oh, cool. Oh. And then you ended up with the AS?
BS in computer information systems.
CIS. Okay, cool. Wow.
Yeah, so long way from the video store.
I know, or long way from couch surfing. Okay. Yeah. What a journey. And then so now you've actually and so when you came out of CIS, then you got into where you are right now.
Right.
Okay, cool.
And then I guess like I'm trying to think of like some of the transition points I was thinking back, like when I was whenever I'd see someone on the freeway when I was commuting to work,
right?
You see someone like in a Ferrari or like a Lamborghini or something like that, and I would think, I was like, man, look at that jerk, right?
Oh, I
had that mindset for a little bit.
Okay, then, when did that set in? Because that wasn't in the beginning. Because in the beginning, you were always looking to say, oh, I want that. What's that like?
I think it's just like, because I thought I got, once I got out of college, I was working my job. I was like, I thought like, this big, huge door would just like swing open. And that wasn't the case,
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the rude awakening that a lot of people, they go to college for. I mean, and so what I love about this story so far that you're telling is that because I have clients that are multimillionaires that never finished high school, or to finish high school, but they never go into college or something like that, And one of the things is, there's value to school, and it all really depends on what you do with it. There's, I have relatives that make a career out of going to school, thinking that the more degrees they have, the more success that they'll have in life.
Right.
But the application is really kind of the thing, right? So you had a rude awakening, like most people do coming out of college, which was, why aren't the doors opening for me?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. What was the first moment where you realized, hey, the doors aren't opening? What do I have to do?
Just a general, like, being in the office and seeing how all the office politics play. Just kind of that.
But you got a job right away, actually.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because I mean, throughout the whole time I was in college, I was working, trying to build up just a really good resume.
Okay.
And then
did you include the adult video bookstore in there?
I didn't. I wonder if it's still there. I think it's called like Doc Johnson's.
Well, I mean, if you work at something like Odyssey Video in LA and stuff like that, which is one of the largest, right? Yeah. The story behind that one.
But yeah, I mean, so I was just trying to build up my resume, and I started really getting into like business books. Some like friends would recommend to me. Some were good, some were really bad. But I think like I read like Think and Grow Rich.
Of course.
I read that one.
It's like the Bible.
Yeah. And then so I was like, after I read, I was like starting to force myself, like every time I'd see like, you know, that Lamborghini or Ferrari, instead of like, I look at it and be like, oh, I can get that one day. You know, and then I would just not fully believe it. I would just tell myself that.
I mean, you know, it's the previous thought process that kept you alive and got you to where you are today. The thinking of the possibilities and seeing that. Somehow it's kind of interesting. It'd be interesting to find out at what point did you adopt what a lot of the world does, which is they vilify people who have more than they do. You know, it's almost like Aesop fables, the fox that couldn't get the grapes and called it sour grapes.
Right.
Remember, you know, and you know, it's interesting that to hear your story that in the beginning it wasn't about that, and at some point there was a switch that happened, and I don't know if it was because of some of the things that you had to commit to, and like going back on getting your GED, then degree, and at some point just thinking, God, it's why is it so tough? Why is the road so long, right? And at that point you see them and say, well, how come they have that, right?
Yeah, because I mean, I graduated college when I turned 30. So I mean, that to get to that part took a really long time, a lot of work, and it was like a lot of you know, ups and downs, and a lot of actually downs to even get to that point.
I think you graduated college before I did.
Oh, really?
Was I 30 already? Yeah, I think I was 30 already. Yeah, back in 1999.
Wow.
2000. Yeah, I'm old. 2001, 2004. Yeah. Okay. Actually, yeah. Right around 30. Well, actually, that's a good question. Anyway, it's not about me. But yeah, I was on the 13-year plan too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, just work, and then, you know, go to school, go to school, kind of just keep it going. And after all that time, you know, I was like, oh, I got my real job. I still can't afford to live in my own place. You know what I mean?
Right. A little disenchanted. It's like, oh, then what? Well, I did that, which was the traditional route, right? So basically what you're doing is, well, let me try the traditional route again and see if that'll do it, right?
Right.
He's like, kind of like, I want to try out this college thing.
Right.
And then you come to me and did you feel a little disenchanted when you came out? It's like,
oh yeah, absolutely. I was like,
I thought if I followed the rules.
Right. And then everyone's like so proud. I was like, oh yeah, you got your first corporate gig working for this company or whatever. It's like, yeah, but I don't, you know, there's gotta be more to life than, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was just me, like my feeling, you know? So,
So you were working this job and then you started getting into your ink on your body, and then actually let's take this opportunity to kind of show. It's such a cool thing, if you don't mind. Just kind of show the camera for those on YouTube and stuff like that. So your arms are like that, right? Your arms are sleeved like that, but your back too, right?
Yeah, my whole back.
Your whole back,
yeah. Fit on the camera. I'll take this off.
Yeah, sure. All right, so. Dude, that's pretty sick. That's wicked. Love it. All right, cool. And I have this little dinky little spot on my back. But anyway,
I actually had no idea you had a tattoo.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I'll have to show you. I showed you. You showed me yours, and I'll show you mine. No, but so you got into ink on your body, and then at one point you had that conversation with that guy who, once again, you saw him. He seemed pretty successful. You built a little bit of rapport with him, and he introduced you to the possibility of entrepreneurship. Now, here's something that I noticed that happens with a lot of entrepreneurs is that, and for those of you entrepreneurs out there, you probably want to kind of key in and listen on this one, because I think what's really cool to recognize is that most entrepreneurs don't realize they're entrepreneurs until they're like knee deep in it. It's like, oh, I'm being an entrepreneur right now.
Right. Yeah.
But when I hear about your story and about your outlook and your perspective on life and how you just get up and keep going no matter what, moving forward, I mean, that's a true mark of someone who has the capabilities, intelligence, the behavior pattern to be able to be an entrepreneur or survive being an entrepreneur.
Right.
But entrepreneurs to some degree are survivors.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you can't not be a survivor and be an entrepreneur. I know people who are not built to be on, have no desire to be an entrepreneur, and they struggle when life becomes tough a little bit.
Right.
You know, there's a level of resilience that isn't there, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not how they're built.
Right.
Okay. So it's so funny because I remember when, you know, even when I first met you, there's a lot of that old language from that money story. There's like, oh, I'm dumb, this and that. You're actually not. there's a level of intelligence that has been able to. I mean, just think about it. Just listen to that story, right? Dumb person can't be. I mean, there's no such thing as a dumb person anyway.
Right.
But everybody has their own unique way of expressing intelligence, and you've expressed it just through that beautiful story that you just told about how you got to where you are today, from couch surfing, there is no money, to now. I mean, for all intents and purposes, the money that's coming into your life, you're a six-figure person.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just it's weird. Like I just when I was presented the opportunity to sell a product I'd never sold before, I'd never been on the phone before, I just was like, okay, if this is what this guy does to do it, I'll try it too. Right. Without thinking what, you know.
Well, that's an entrepreneur. Now, at what point did you realize that, oh, I mean, do you see yourself as an entrepreneur now?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So at what point did you recognize it, just kind of honor that and own that piece? Like, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, and you're stepping into that, because it wasn't right away, right?
No, not at all. I mean, when I first got that opportunity, I didn't even consciously think like, you know, that was like entrepreneurship at all. I just, you know, I was like, okay, so what I got to do to, you know, make money like you do? Right. He's like, cool, just get your cell phone, open the phone book, and then call a company and see if they'll buy toner off you. I was like, okay, you know,
and that's it.
And then so I bought a bunch of books. I bought a book like The Art of the Deal, like Donald Trump.
Right.
Yeah. Like all these entrepreneur books.
Okay.
And then to like try to get like sales advice, like I can find something out there I can use on the phone. Right. And then also like to figure out, you know, to keep me motivated, because like I think there's some book like The Millionaire Next Door, something like that. I read that, and then so like, as you know, this guy would go around and ask like all these millionaires like what they did for a living. Right. And then they're all like in sales or they own their own business.
There's a book that you would absolutely love then, and I highly recommend it. It's by Og Mandino. Do you know that book? It's called The Greatest Salesman in the World.
Oh, really? Okay.
Og Mandino. And it comes with mantras and everything like that. The guy, you know, rest in peace. The guy has since passed, but really amazing. It's kind of required reading for one of our for our practitioners in our training program, stuff like that. But The Greatest Salesman in the World, you would actually love it. You know what I love about your process and your approach in life that I don't know if you even recognize is that, have you noticed that there's never a moment where you said, I can't do that? It was like, he says, you know, this is what you got to do. Okay, great. I'm going to go read some books. Let me go learn how to do it. Let me figure out how to do it and just do it, versus saying, I can't. Right. You know, and, you know, it's interesting because despite saying, oh, I'm not that smart and everything, but you're still like, maybe that's part of your motivation for craving the knowledge, because it says, well, I got to do a little bit more because everybody is smarter than me, I guess. I don't
no, I can see that. Yeah.
Right. But you never play into that story so much so that it doesn't sound like you have. I mean, was there ever a moment where you said, oh, I can't do it, life sucks, I might as well just give?
Absolutely. Like that first call I made, I got hung up on. Like literally like hung up on. I was like, I like amped myself up for an hour just to make this one first cold call, and I got hung up on. So I was like, man, this sucks. I'm not doing this. And then, you know.
And how long did it take to make the next call?
Probably like another 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's very brief. So so even though you go through, and it probably felt like eternity. It's like, oh my God. And then 15 minutes later, it's like, okay, let me do this next one. Yeah. I think that's what we're talking about here, is that level of resiliency that really is a true mark of an entrepreneur. It's like, yeah, we're human, right? We still get butt hurt. We still get feelings hurt. You know, I'm using all these terms here. That's like, is that appropriate for the air, saying butt hurt? Anyway, but I mean, we still have our feelings hurt. We still deal with regular human emotions of doubt. You know, like, or what they say a lot of times in entrepreneurship, imposter syndrome. Right. You know, which is like, who am I to, you know, to be doing this? Who am I to be making six figures? Nobody else in my family did it. Right.
Right. Exactly.
Wait. Have there been people in your family that made 6 figures?
Oh yeah, I just didn't know about it.
Oh, or you missed it. You just missed it altogether.
Yeah.
So were there a lot, or was there?
No, I mean, I think my stepdad did very well. My grandfather,
business or work,
both, because I think he had his own side business doing like writing programs. I think he wrote like a program for like the Cadillac North Star system.
Oh Jesus!
And the Palm Pilot.
Oh, so smart dude.
Yeah. So I mean,
techie dude.
We just never saw it on our end.
Oh, he kept it all to himself?
Yeah.
Really?
Which is kind of cool lesson to learn, because I wasn't spoiled like my friends by any means.
So what did he do? Did he just stash it away? I mean, is he very just good with the money, just kind of chipmunking in a way?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
saving up for my mom, I guess.
Oh, okay. So that means your parents are actually well taken care of then from a financial standpoint.
Right.
Okay, that's good.
But yeah, we didn't.
You should probably have a conversation with him about that. What do you do with the money?
Oh, that's cool. I got my own.
No. No. You're asking a conversation about what his strategy was. Yeah, in terms of what he does with the money after he makes it. Right. How does he invest? What does he put away and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's one thing I always wanted to learn from somebody. Because I mean, like my stepdad.
But your stepdad's doing it, right?
We're not close.
Oh.
But like some of the books I was reading was like in investing, like what's that, Mad Money or something like that, like on how to like read stocks and things like that.
Oh.
So I was always trying to what do rich people do? How do they get rich?
I'll tell you right now, and this is a guy that I go to. Garrett Gunderson.
Okay.
Wealthfactory.com. So I would highly recommend checking him out. For those of you who are listening, stuff like that, and want to know very powerful things to do with money. I mean, he's basically, I know Robert Kiyosaki is not always the best guy to listen to, but he actually talks about how brilliant this guy is. I mean, if you listen to kind of his strategies and everything like that,
right,
it's amazing. Entrepreneurial finance is kind of his thing. Mm-hmm. So my mentor, my coach uses him. I use him, and I refer to him for a bunch of different things. So wealthfactory.com.
Cool.
Definitely check that out if you want to know what to do with your money and stuff like that. He has some of those cutting edge, and he stays on top of all these different things. So really cool guy. Oh, he stopped using Kiyosaki, I guess. Not exactly the best.
I read that guy's book too.
Robert Kiyosaki?
Yeah,
Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Yeah, my dad was a poor dad. Brilliant man. Mm-hmm. Totally poor dad. Yeah. So, okay, cool. Well, congratulations being able to, but is it different now having someone to kind of elicit that entire story out? I mean, kind of taking a step back, say, oh, or did you always have that perspective, being able to recognize this is where I came from, this is my journey, this is my story?
Yeah, no, I was always cool with it. But I think like what really helped with my journey is that I know that no matter what happens, if I fail at something, mm-hmm, I'm not going to be so far pushed back in life that I'll be couch surfing again. And if I do end up at a point where like I failed so hard that I'm couch surfing, I know I can go back to where I was at before.
Yeah, and there's something to be said, that level of resilience, recognizing that you have that resilience. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, I think most people don't realize that they're doing that already. It's kind of like unconscious, and just keep getting up and keep going and stuff like that. Kind of like kids who want to learn how to do something new, and they keep falling, getting up, learning how to walk, right? And what's interesting is now seeing that, and plus, I mean, being married too, does that also have an impact in terms of your perspective on how you approach certain things? Has it helped you in your business? Has it made you a little bit apprehensive? What was that like for you?
Yeah, being married, I think it just motivates me even more, mm-hmm, because that way I can hopefully provide a life for my family now that I would never thought would have been possible, like when I was 21,
right,
or 28,
yeah,
or 34. So I think it just adds the extra push I need when I need to like make like a decision on like, hey, I have to work on something, but it's going to take a year. Before I'm like, okay, cool, I got all the time in the world, I can make it last 2 years if I wanted to. It doesn't matter. But now since I'm married, I was like, I gotta get this going now, kind of deal. So yeah.
So it gives you a little push. Do you think that's what helped you, get past that 6-figure mark in terms of, revenue in your world?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I don't spend as much time trying to like analyze something too closely to where like, I just overanalyze it and not do anything, or just
analysis paralysis.
Exactly, or miss an opportunity.
Yeah.
I'll just go for it and then figure out everything as it happens, kind of thing.
Very cool. So here's what you got going on then. So now you have, I mean, you're on the path of transitioning into, I mean, ultimately you're going to be a full-time entrepreneur, right? Okay. And you're on that transition right now, right? How long have you been running your business?
So I started selling toner.
Yeah.
In that conversation, I think it was like 2014.
Okay.
And then so I was working for two partners.
Okay.
You know, they owned the company. I just sold for them. And then last year this year in January, I bought the company from them. So they went their separate ways, and I kept the company.
Oh.
I bought all their shares.
Okay, so you bought them out.
Yeah, I bought them out.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because they were, they want to do their own things. Like one of the guys, he still does his own like B2B business, and the other one started a franchise, like Kona Ice franchise.
Oh, cool.
So awesome. But yeah, like those guys are like some of my mentors, like business mentors. But
yeah. So what inspired you to like say, okay, great. Well, instead of you going your own separate and starting your own gig, I'm just gonna buy their business. I mean, did you just get really said, I'm really into this ink thing?
It's just like, it's weird. Like, it's just a business I was comfortable with, like working with different, the customers I work with. Like, it's just, I've been comfortable with them for so long. And I can see like where all the pitfalls and like our competition. I can see like people who have the same sort of business I do, and they're like, $6, $7, $8 million companies, like on a small size. And I could look at them like, I can see everything that they're doing wrong, and their old way of running a business, and make it my way of running a business and be like way more successful.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about like, if you go to like one of their sites, it's just like it looks like it's like on Netscape.
Yeah.
Like
and is there most of their business coming from their website, or
no? It's cold calling, like B2B.
Okay, so they're still on that cold calling.
They're still on it, like, and it works. But then, the way I see it is, we can, instead of having to use people, because I tried using salespeople before, and it works for some companies.
I remember, you had a couple guys, right?
Yeah, and it went to crap so many times, just because my how you say, like, the lack of experience, like leading a sales team, which is actually really difficult.
Yeah, well, it's all about people, right? And it's a whole separate skill set that you develop to learn how to understand and nurture and manage people. It's kind of like being a parent.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Right.
And then talking with you and like talking to Corey and like trying to figure out how to like modernize this kind of business, and then thinking like, hey, we can use like Google advertising, we can use other things,
right,
that we can control every part of it and adjust, to.
Have you interviewed your clients to kind of see where what they're looking for in terms of how to make that process easier for them?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I really know like my audience now. Like I'm like really confident. Like I know like who my customer is or potential customer is.
Right.
But also I can see like how maybe like a millennial generation coming up, like who would be in the next phase of this, this position of like ordering like toner, like that,
right?
How they would do it.
I mean, here's the thing about ink toners, like there was so many different models that came out for it. HP tried doing it, Epson was doing it, which is that subscription model thing. I didn't understand how that would work. I mean, that's still going on, right? People still,
yeah, sure.
And how is that model working? I mean, is it because I don't see it everywhere, so it's not like.
Here's the thing, like once you get into a subscription thing with you kind of lose that relationship with your client.
And why is that relation so important when it comes to ink tone? I mean, someone who doesn't know the industry, they just say, oh well, I mean, it's just ink, right? I just put it in and it prints, and that's all I need the ink for. Why do I need a relationship?
Well, first, I mean, you need a relationship because if something will always go wrong. Any business, like people will use that like fear factor type deal, like, well, if something goes wrong, I'll be right here.
So what could go wrong possibly with ink that you just can't just replace the ink?
We'll say, like, for instance, like it runs out. Like the basic one is like it runs out. You'll have to either go to the store yourself, step aside from your business, go to your store yourself, or maybe you're trying to print paychecks that day.
Yeah.
And it's an emergency situation. but you can't leave your office. Like, you know, you have someone automatically take care of it for you.
Right. It's really one of those, it's those inopportune critical moments that, that when the ink runs out. I mean, I've known that, I've experienced that myself. You know, usually, you know, when I do these events and stuff like that, I'm printing a bunch of, you know, especially doing workshops, live workshops, printing a bunch of handouts, printing a bunch of things. And all of a sudden the ink runs out and it's like the middle of the night. I'm like, what do I do, right?
Yeah.
Handwrite it.
Yeah. And it was I think what my customers appreciate is if I can't get them at a certain price that they want, I'll tell them exactly where to get it. Like where they can find something cheaper or something that's
like Miracle on 34th Street type of like thing where Santa Claus go to the other store.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm not going to shove something down their throat. You know what I mean? If they want, I'm going to let them have what they need.
Right.
And I think that, you know, in the end, if something I have like costs a little bit more, they'll pay a little bit more just to know that they're going to get an honest opinion and get exactly what they need.
So what is then the benefit? Because I'm really interested because you have a unique way, obviously, of taking care of your clients that keeps them coming around. I mean, for someone like me, I mean, I barely use my printer stuff like, so I'm probably not the ideal client and stuff like that. But for someone that was for companies that are high output in terms of, you know, printing and ink usage and copy machines and all those different things, and they own their own machines as opposed to leasing that has this contract with them where they whatever. What working with you is, I mean, I think a lot of people will be wondering, okay, what is the benefit of, I mean, can't they just plan ahead of time and make sure they just order directly from whatever, or is it a cost saving issue as well as a service issue? I mean, what are the main benefits of working with a boutique type of, you know, ink toner provider like you?
I think it's like there's like maybe like 3 parts. Like the first part is that when you work with me, we're gonna figure out a way to get you to stop printing unnecessarily. So like because most of the companies are really like small business or mid-sized business, blue collar industries, and first of all, you need to figure out a way to cut the cost. And the easiest way to cut the cost is to stop printing. Like and then so like trying to get everyone set up on like Google Docs and Google Drives and file sharing, which like people
so it's beyond just ink toner. You're telling them like, this is how you save ink.
Absolutely.
So but doesn't that take away from your business of selling
That's
ink?
Okay, because I mean my main goal is to develop the trust with the client, because they'll know like I'm not going to try to squeeze them for money when I'm trying to really help them with the cost. And then we'll look at what are they printing. Are they printing in color? Are they printing just for inside the office?
Right.
If they're printing for just inside the office, we take all those inkjet cartridges out of the picture right away, because those are really pricey.
Right.
And then we figure out like how much are they printing? Are you printing like 100 pages a week?
Right.
1,000 pages a week. And
so like before you work with them, what are some of the costs of having unmanaged printing, scenarios? I mean, what does that cost the business typically?
Actually, I mean, it can be like thousands of dollars, and be hundreds of thousands of dollars. It just all depends on like how your employees are trained. And
where have you seen like hundreds of $1,000s like being just wasted?
Easy. Like if you go to say you go to a warehouse or manufacturing and you see a bunch of those like HP inkjets, and that's it. Automatically I can tell like you guys are just burning all your money up on unnecessarily when
6 figures of just ink cost.
Right. And
not in paper.
Right, exactly. And I mean, maybe like a typical toner salesperson be like, this is a gold mine,
Right.
Or I don't see it like I see it as like this is
so much
really
waste.
Bad. Let's get you on like,
and it's not good for the environment either.
Yeah, totally not.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, people will call up and say like, hey, we're going to cut your cost by giving you this cheap toner. That's only like a small fraction of like the big picture that needs to happen. And it's not like, that's not like a service.
Wow. So your business, the service that you provide is more than just the ink toner. It's actually going into doing a full analysis of how the cost savings really should be monitored.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then and the benefit is that, okay, great, you're going to help them understand their cost structure and saving money when it comes to ink, which is printing. If there's a lot of printing, like for example, like law firms, I mean, they print all the time, right? These major, I mean, at the end of the day, printing is still a big deal. Do you think printing will ever go away?
I don't think so. I hope it does, to be honest.
Yeah.
is very wasteful.
Yeah.
Especially when you have.
What will you do? What will you do then if it goes away? I mean, it probably won't go away in our lifetime, but
right. I mean, I'll just keep modifying the business and writing the way to follow with the trend versus like, you know, like how
like virtual ink.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, how you
sell ink to tattoo artists.
I know, right? That will never go away.
Yeah, that'll never go away. And then you could do like, you know, really cool like special ink. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, like the music industry, right? When they had CDs and tapes, and no one adjusted for that change to digital downloads. I think one.
Well, they tried to fight it,
right,
and then they lost.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, I'm gonna follow the trend of like, okay, everyone's switching this way, I'm gonna move that way too.
Kind of like the whole Napster thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of like cryptocurrency right now.
Yeah. Are you in on that? Because
I'm in terms of the observation standpoint. I think last week or the week before I talked about cryptocurrency anxiety, and what I've been seeing is a lot of people who are, instead of dealing with their anxiety with real money or actual money right now, with the way the money works in the world right now. Because crypto is still money, it's just it's an evolution of it. They're running away from it instead of dealing with the anxiety, and now their anxiety is exasperated.
Right.
It's like, what are you doing? You know, don't go in there. It's even more volatile than what you're dealing with, and then your anxiety is going to be through the roof. But anyway, so that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I mean that whole like you're saying. I mean, being able to, and I think being not this like 800-pound gorilla that's out there doing cold calls, old school way of serving clientele will give you the ability to adapt and adjust. I mean, there definitely is a shift in terms of eliminating. I don't even have a print. I used to have a printer everywhere. I got at home, at office. I don't have a printer at home anymore.
Right.
I mean, if I need anything, I mean, you could do it so that you can actually print out at the office and it's waiting for you.
Right.
Right. I don't think I have that set up, but it doesn't matter. I don't print that much anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, here, let me send you a Google Doc.
Exactly.
You know?
Right.
So moving in that direction, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. In the meantime, the market is, as more and more companies are adopting and realizing that, how do you plan on shifting and evolving to that? Or you just say, well, we'll just see what happens? Or
oh yeah, absolutely. I'm going to write it out, because I mean, our customers already know we're trying to figure out that way already, because we're bringing it up and say, hey, you know, let's get you on Google Docs.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen if all of a sudden, you know, the ink market isn't really kind of like the revenue piece? Because already I can see it from a consulting standpoint, from a cost structure standpoint, just being able to migrate people off of printers, that's a service in itself that you should be able to charge for. I mean, that's a consulting piece, because it impacts their bottom line. So maybe that's something that you could do as the next step thing.
That's actually a really good idea. Yeah, I mean, if that all goes away, that revenue stream,
because you have your products and then you have a consulting, and you have two streams of revenue in your business.
Right.
I just take your business to the next level.
There it is. See,
there you go.
Actually, you know what? Wait, remember like a couple of years ago, I was like, man, I'm like, so I can't sell anything. Like I have stage fright. Like I can't speak in public. Like you gave me all these like tips, and it works, you know? So.
Yeah. Because that's all I do for a living.
Yeah.
I just talk. I just motor my mouth, and it's like, okay, great. Somehow I get paid to do this. This is awesome. Okay, cool. So, you know, believe it or not, it's almost top of the hour, 5 minutes until, it's great story. Love what you shared and everything like that. And I think there's so many gemstones for people to just, if they just listen to your story and just listen to all the layers of just like knowledge and gems, there's brilliance at every turn in terms of what you've done from an entrepreneur standpoint.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
And for those that are listening and have ink toner needs, or wanting to know, are really, which is what I think the most valuable piece is, wanting to know how to cut costs, you know, when it comes to printing, like escrow companies, real estate companies, law firms, and everything like that, if you just take a look at the numbers, you probably are spending thousands and thousands of dollars, probably wasted on ink, on just ink.
Oh yeah.
And then paper.
Yeah.
Right. So how, if they have this desire to have you come in and kind of do an evaluation and analyze and build a relationship with you, how do they reach out to you? How do they connect with you?
You can give me a call anytime. The number is 844-952-7298.
844. Wait, let me put in a call Erik at 844-952.
7298.
7298. I put that in the Spreaker, so that way people can go there. Oh wait, I got Investing for Dummies is from the Get Foxy show. Interview your customers. Great. Truly serving your clients by saving them money, then turns them into the very cool. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that's from one of our family members, Terry Fox. He has the Get Foxy show, so go check out his show.
I'll check that out.
Give a shout out to the Get Foxy show. Sometimes we as podcast people have to promote each other, but I didn't realize that we totally missed it. He was commenting. Thanks for the comments, Terry.
Thanks.
Investing for Dummies, yeah, is actually kind of those dummy books I actually had done.
I read them. I read some of those dummy books too. Yeah.
I got a Siberian Husky for Dummies.
Oh, really?
For my dog. But to try to understand, I did 2 months of research before I got my dog just to make sure. Yeah. So awesome, Terry. Appreciate you being on. So this is cool. So they can reach out to you calling 844-952-7298. What's your website, by the way?
Sure. It's www.horizoninc.
Horizon Inc.
HorizonINK.com.
Get inked. But I love this thing, and just kind of like what Terry pointed out, saving your clients, instead of it's probably throws them in a loop when you're trying to save them money. Says, aren't you selling me ink? Why are you trying to save me money?
Right. Because I need to. I mean, it's not hard to call someone and get them to buy toner over the phone. Right. Everyone has the same script. They do the same thing. But you need to be able to provide the customer some value if you want a lifetime. Like some of my customers I've had for since the very beginning. I think my third phone call actually sold something. Yeah, she's still my customer today.
I think the big thing is to understand and recognize that what you're doing by helping them save money from that standpoint is you're getting a deep understanding of their business.
Absolutely.
Which means that when the time comes where ink is no longer a viable, lucrative thing, you can easily probably shift just from your understanding of what your clients are needing and looking for and everything like that on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So I'm really excited for as your business continues to grow. I mean, how much longer before you stop the straddling and move into the full-time thing, do you think? What is your goal for that?
We have this year working on a lot of things. I'm trying to revamp a lot of the certifications that we have. So I think once we start moving into government, we do some on a small scale, we work with the government, but
they'll never stop printing.
Right, exactly.
They'll print till 3 generations in, I think.
That's our big strategy. As soon as I start getting really into our government contracts, and I think it's a good.
And how close are you to getting that done?
September.
Wow.
Yeah, we already put in all of our application. We have our lawyer working on the certification. So
very cool.
Usually it takes 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
It's actually interesting. The category we're trying to work in has been closed for the last 5 years. So ever since I got in, everyone was like, "Oh, you have to get this certification." It's been closed, and then in January, right when I bought the company, it opened up again. So
nice. Well, that means that you're supposed to get in there.
I believe so. I'm on path.
So cool. So you know what? Thank you so much, Erik, for coming by on the show. I mean, here's the thing: is I want to be able to help our audience track your progression. So the next big leap that happens for you, and probably when you leap off of that one side and go full time in your business, would love to have you back on the show and talk about that transition, because I think that would be a really cool piece to share right there, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's our show for the week. And again, if you found this episode to be valuable, and this was quite a surprise for me, because just the story alone was something that I had no idea. I had no idea that your story was like that. All I knew was that you were doing the analyst stuff, and then you were doing this and a couple other things, but I didn't know the full breadth of the story until you had told me the other day there is no money. It's like, ooh, I can't wait to get to that story. But just hearing about everything that you went through, absolutely, you have the resilience of an entrepreneur, and there is a level of intelligence that is not what you call mainstream that, I hope you step away truly owning, because this is such a cool piece. And if you know somebody that could benefit from what Erik shared today, absolutely share this episode, share this podcast, review us on iTunes, Spreaker, like the episode on YouTube Live. And did you know we even actually have a Facebook group called The Money Lab? I think you're in it, right?
I'm in it.
Yeah. Okay, so join us there and Erik, and so we could dive deeper, even deeper into the money story elimination strategy, ask him questions, because sometimes we're hearing this not live. And so, you know, that actually will allow you to stay connected with us and keep asking those questions, because just because it's not live anymore doesn't mean you won't respond to people's questions about.
Oh yeah, I'm always answering everything.
I don't know. You're actually you're very involved in a local community and everything like that. You're currently co-chairing our ambassador team over at the Chamber of Commerce. So, and you show up to all those events. So you're very involved, not just beyond your business or your work and your marriage, but also with the community as well. Right. So this guy is worth getting to know and worth getting to get into a conversation with, because there's a level of humility there that is what makes him so poised for success. So I hope for those of you who are hearing this, that you reach out to him at some level and just connect with him, maybe within our group and stuff like that. Cool.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's a wrap. Take this week to apply the knowledge from today that you got from all the stories and all the cool things that Erik shared. Have an amazing week. And what we'll do is we'll catch you next week on the Money Lab Live podcast, where we will have Nancy Gaines, speaker and business system automation specialist. And this is Wei from the Six Figure Academy and Erik signing off.
See you later.